Hi, my name is Mike Chili. I wanted to show you how to make your own pretzels with Kathi's German Pretzel mix. It's quite hard to get proper pretzels in the Bay Area. They're either stale or they're not as crunchy as the German pretzels, but with this mix you can get pretty close. So today we're gonna bake them in our home. What you need is the pretzel mix, costs about $6 at World Market, a little bit of flour, a wooden board, then you need parchment paper, and a bowl to mix the dough in. Let's get going. Simply rip open the package and you can see what's inside. This is the mix with the flour, and there's also food grade lye. That's what makes the pretzels brown, and salt. So let's rip this open. And you can see that this is simply some kind of flour with some mix in it. We put that in the bowl and add the yeast that comes in an extra package. It's dried yeast, so just cut that open and put that in. Then add 7/8 of a cup lukewarm water to the mix. So that's about 200 milliliters. Pour that in. And also 3 spoons of vegetable oil. I'm using safflower oil here. 1, 2, 3. Then use a mixer with the dough hooks and mix it for about 3 minutes until it's smooth. After that, it should look something like this, and we can knead it a little bit by hand, but this stuff is really sticky, so if you get too much on your hands, you can put some flour on your hands in order to make it stick a little less. So basically, this is how it should look like. And now we need to let it rest for about 30 minutes. And now I'm going to put a towel over the whole thing. And it's supposed to rest in a warm place. After 30 minutes, the dough looks like this. So it's expanded a little bit. The yeast has expanded in the warm air. And we use a little bit of flour so that it doesn't stick to the board that much. So not too much because otherwise it gets too doughy, but also put some on your hands so the dough doesn't stick that much. And knead it a little bit so that the air gets out of the dough, and then we roll it out so that we can cut off several pieces. The package says it's about 12 pretzels. But since my baking sheet holds about 9, 3 rows and 3 columns, I'm going to cut it into 9 pieces roughly. So we want to have nice thin pretzels. Keep that in mind. So don't use too much dough for each pretzel. And the way we cut that is simply with a knife into small pieces. Now for the individual pretzel, take a piece of dough, make sure you got a little bit of flour down there, and try to stretch that so you get a long string of dough. It takes some practice, and once you get to a certain point, it's kind of hard to pull more. So what you want to do is swirl it around like this. And you want to have something that's really maybe a 1/4 inch thick, because the thinner the pretzel, the more crunchier it's going to get, and the better it's going to taste, of course. So don't break it like I did here. Put that back in, the piece of dough, and try to stretch it a little more and more and more, and then swirl it a little more. You get the idea. then when you get to a certain thinness of the string, we want to do this typical pretzel shape, and let's make it a little thinner here, even thinner, very thin. You can't go thin enough, I tell you that. It looks like it's going to be thin enough, but it's not, because the dough is going to expand in the oven because of the yeast that's in there. It's going to expand like crazy, and once you get to this point, you want to get to this U shape, and then cross your hands and make this typical pretzel shape by uncrossing your hands, so that you end up with a nice pretzel shape, something like this. As I told you, it takes a little practice because the dough is really hard to shape, but once you get a hang of it, it's going to be almost automatic. Now, since I've made all the pretzels, what I need is add the food grade lye mix, which is also some fine powder that we need to dilute with a little water. So put it all in, and then add, it says 50 milliliters of water, so that's probably like this, and I'll mix that up a little bit, and then I'm gonna rub it onto the pretzels. This is gonna make them taste like pretzels taste like, you know, a little almost bitter or burnt, but most importantly, it will create this really nice brown hue that makes them look so crunchy and delicious. So I'm gonna put that onto the pretzels now. You can see some of them are smaller and some of them are a little bigger, but basically they turned out pretty well this time. The first time I made the pretzels, they were all like doughy and small, but once you get the hang of it, you can actually make that dough pretty thin, and this is when the pretzels get really crunchy and delicious. The last pretzels here, also make sure to cover them evenly so that a little lye even runs on the other side of the pretzel, because we're just applying it to one side. We want a brown pretzel all the way around. After doing this, so all the lye, food grade lye, is applied, we're gonna cover it up and let it rise for another 20 minutes. So the yeast will let the pretzels grow even more. So another 20 minutes have gone by, and the pretzels have raised a little bit. Now it's time to put on the coarse salt, and I'm just gonna put it into here. You can see it's quite coarse, so we just sprinkle that loosely on the pretzels. The coarse salt really adds to the flavor when you bite into a pretzel. Some people like more, some people a little less. Just apply all of what's in that bag, and we should be good to go. I have preheated the oven to 400 degrees for the last 10 minutes, and we just want to slide it in really quickly so that we don't lose a lot of heat. Pretzels need a really hot oven so that they get crunchy. So let me just do that really quick. This is the oven here, and I'm just going to slide that in really fast. And done. So we're going to let those bake exactly 20 minutes and then check. Sometimes it takes a little more, it might take 25 minutes. You want them to be really golden brown. So it's been exactly 20 minutes, 22, something like that, and the pretzels look ready to me. Let's get them out of the oven. They're really, really hot, so I gotta make sure I'm not burning myself here. And let's check how the pretzels turned out. They look pretty good to me. Crunchy here on the thin parts, as you can see, and doughy in the thicker parts. Perfect. Let's try it. And really, you don't want to put mustard on a pretzel. The only thing that goes on a pretzel in Germany is butter. Let's try it. Mmm, they're delicious. See, it's so easy to make pretzels yourself. Just buy that kit and you're all set. See you.